Hello, everyone. Nice to see familiar faces in such small auditory. For me, it's a pleasure to be here and to speak, and so I believe we can have a great discussion about data protection. So, as I was introduced, I'm working in also Latvia, which is a part of also Group, the largest IT solution distributor in Europe. And we've been spending a lot of time, especially also on network protection, data protection, and how we can achieve GDPR compliance. Maybe my most favorite topics is GDPR. So today I want to dive into what we need to have if we have everything protected in the network part. Is it enough? So I would like to begin with an idea which had the Norwegian historians that technology is a useful servant but a dangerous master. Especially it's actual nowadays because technology shifts and technology changes. So twice per quarter. Yes, we have every day some kind of new technology. We have now new blockchain implementation. We have artificial intelligence, robots, and so on. It's changing so fast that we don't have the skills to follow up. And maybe in some cases it's not needed. And that's why we see that we are not alone nowadays. We need someone who will be holding our hand, who will be consulting us and helping us to act correctly, to protect our data, who is helping us with the software development, with solution implementation. And we see the big expansion of outsourcing companies coming, and then so from the global statistics, hello, that from 8 to 31% of IT functions are outsourced. It was this big difference in percentages really dependent on which time and which sphere we are talking about. So if we are speaking about just hardware usage and hardware assisting in hardware implementation, the percentage of outsourcing is small. If we are speaking about new software development, new system development, basically every third company has their outsourcing company who is developing. And the reasons are quite understandable. We don't have knowledge. We want to cut our costs. It's nowadays costly to have our own technical experts. So we need to focus more on our core business. It's our main value. Yes, we don't have time and skills and need to grow our artificial intelligence specialists if we are doing car leasing, yes, or to grow our drones specialists if we have working in a logistic business. And that increase of outsourcing in our everyday life brings us more complexity in a way how we act and how we treat them. So one of the recent cases, maybe someone already heard about it. A small hospital in Portugal, which has like approximately 300 doctors, last week was punished by the local data protection authority because that they couldn't protect their patients' data. Yes, and they couldn't follow up how many access accounts to data there were issued. So, for example, they had like 296 doctors, but they have like approximately 970 accounts that could get to the data. Quite situation is quite similar, I believe, with what we have here locally with national healthcare system. When every doctor from every place at every time period could get access to every patient's data, to download it, to look it through, to understand what's happening, what's not. And local data protection authority issued basically three fines: 150,000 for violation of principle of data minimization, 150,000 euro for violation of principle for integrity and confidentiality, and 100 just for inability to ensure confidentiality and integrity. 450,000 euros for one hospital. Basically, this is Latvian Data Protection Authority next year's budget, achieved by only one customer. So, and as far as I know, maybe lawyers who are sitting here can correct me, it's the largest fine issued after the GDPR took place this year, so it's strongly connected. Previously, I believe it was Heathrow Airport with 120K, but we see that only one company can increase our national budget. And that brings us to think about what solution, how we can address that kind of violation, how can we protect end customers. So yes, here is the extract from the National Data Authority. So they mentioned that the hospital didn't have identification and authentication of users. They didn't have management access to the information profiles, and they needed to have a system reliable for the auditing and such kind of intrusions. We have such a solution which addresses mostly the part which is structured data, because, so you know, a lot of data we were bringing and holding in an unstructured way. So we have also a solution for unstructured data also. You can come to us and talk about it. But if we are speaking about structured data, this is the core data we use in our daily business. We need to know, so which tables in our database hold the personal data? Who has an access to the data? We need to have it to understand how can we protect it. And one of the critical questions is that we see, and especially if we have a lot of outsourcing companies, how do we control authorized or privileged users, administrator basically? Because nowadays a lot of companies has local database administrators with the full opportunities to change everything they want, to access the data they want, to delete everything they want. And in most cases, this is not even controlled somehow. This is like an example, so we had and we tested, so we know, oh, wow. So in a usual database, we have like this national ID numbers. In most cases, we have one column where all the national IDs are written, so, and we're trying to find. But if we are going to an end customer, and we've seen it in our audits we've done to end customers, there's a column named comment. And without any reason, so people who are working with the database put the IDs numbers in comment column, or they put their address numbers, which is also a part of personal data, and we need somehow to ensure the protection also for that kind of columns. And this is a solution. IBM Guardium is nowadays one of the powerful tools to protect databases and our valuable assets. So we can get full vision of what we have, what data we are holding in our database, like how the database is vulnerable, what kind of types of data we are holding there. We can ensure encryption and data masking, basically, which is a pseudonymization principle in GDPR. So we can divide user groups and to give access to one group and not give to others. So how we use it, so if we have like CRM system where we have all the customers, whereas accounting system, we can divide that. Accountants have access to personal ID number and account number, but doesn't see where the person lives or how many children our worker has. In cases of business data, we can segregate and to, for example, to give marketing department only information needed for our marketing campaigns, not going inside the personal data. One of the basic stuff we can do is to monitor what's happening with the database. So basically we can control which kind of users access which data, how they change the database columns, how they change the database, so rows, have they deleted anything, have they changed something. We are receiving a big logging file for all the activities that is happening to our core business data. And in case something happening, we can block that kind of information, and of course alert and calls, so send email, sends notification to our security officers that something is happening wrong, that someone gotten access to the data he doesn't need and don't need any, he had no permission to do it. And of course, compliance automation and all the auditing stuff to show the data protection authorities that we are in control. We know everything what's happening. We protect our data. We are compliant with the GDPR regulation. So our colleague who is a certified DPO, so have put all the GDPR principles, and Guardium's corresponds almost every of them in case of structured data protection. So if we are speaking about technology, the solution is quite simple from the logical view. We have a central repository, a central management console for all the politics and rules applied, and then we just install the database agent near to the database to get a full vision, and all the communications that coming from users are going through the agents, and that's how we protect and receive all the logging information, all the logs. And so we have all the three main capabilities. We can analyze, the data and uncover all the critical data and uncover risk. We can seamlessly change everything with our internal rules policy, security policy, in case something is needed. And of course, the protection of data is very crucial for us. Yeah, and this is how the reporting looks like. So yeah, we can have all these pie charts, so for data protection officer in your company, you can get full vision of what's happening to your data, who accessed, when accessed, how the activity has changed. Do we have any new columns which are having personal data? And we can on the fly configure and change if we see something is wrong. And before I will pass to practical side, to a demonstration, I forgot, yes, and this tool is great for self-reporting or to reporting to Data Protection Authority in case we needed to report in 72 hours. It's interesting because after the GDPR appeared, so after it was launched on May, there were 2 countries in the European Union, like Ireland and UK, who had very interesting consequences of GDPR. They began to self-report themselves because they see that if they won't do it, they will be fined much more if they will just say that they have some problems with operation of data. So in Ireland, it was like approximately 500 self-reporting cases in first month. I don't know how it is possible in our local countries. Will we self-report ourselves in case of some kind of data breach? But in case we need it, we can, in 72 hours, provide the full information on what data was accessed, was it personal data, was it business critical data, and how we were protecting it. So yes, and before I will pass my word to our technical expert, we have and also our Excellence Center, where we provide almost every IBM software you are interested in, with approach, with the showing, with the demonstration, with proof of concept capabilities. Now we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, yes, solutions that we are ready to launch like now to show you and to demonstrate. In that case, is also, I believe, in GDPR related cases, we have this unstructured data analytics. We can show we have successfully audited small, medium, and large companies. We can do it at your site. We can show the same Guardium with your data running. And if you're interested in any IBM software, just come to us. We are staying in the hall, so with a big also and Guardium banner, so we'll be there all the day. So come, ask any interesting IBM software, we will help you. And now I will give my word to Martin Zeipe, our technical expert in security and certified data protection officer, with a small demonstration of Guardium. While he connects, maybe some questions.
Have you saved anyone from GDPR breach with your...
So what do you mean by saving? We have provided a full visibility report. So what we have discovered, so like for a couple of customers that they're holding the users' CVs in Windows system folders, which they haven't got any clue about it. We have saved also one big utility company showing the full assessment with showing all this the part where there written personal data inside the comments. So they weren't aware of it. Yeah.
So, hello. With IBM Security Guardium, we can find our personal data in our databases. We can choose the rules for which kind of data we want to look for. For example, we can look for data like personal identification numbers, like credit card numbers, like driving license ID, like names and bank accounts. So we can use these predefined rules to find the personal data, or even we can create our own rules for data discovery. The next step is to choose a data source. We can choose one or multiple data sources which we want to scan, where we want to find personal data. And the next step is to run discovery process. So we will run this discovery process, and after discovery process is complete, we'll have the full report of what personal data we have in our databases. For example, we can see that we have in which tables we have personal data, we can see in which columns we have personal data, and even you can see what kind of personal data we have. In this example, we have the Latvian personal code, the identification number, and the names. So we can see even what kind of data we have. So let's look. Oh, we have the personal codes, a lot of personal codes. We have the names, also a lot of names. Alice, Nils, Tamara. So we have a lot of data which we need to protect. So the next step is to protect the data. IBM Security Guardium help us to install policies and security rules to protect data. We can alert our security team when someone is accessing our sensitive data. Or we can even block access to our personal data. Or in some case, we can mask that personal data to be sure that our data is safe. And that is not all. We also can see everything what is happening in our system. For example, we see what users is doing with our data, from what client IPs they are coming. We can see full the SQL, what they are asking to the database, for what kind of data, for example, the first name, email address, city. So we have the full log and full report of what privileged users are doing in our database. We can also see the things like violations, for example, privileged users access, some also authentication, logging failed attempts. The IBM Guardium helps us to see all the information is necessary for security. And more, we also can see the data manipulating language and data definition language execution commands, like drop commands, like create commands. So we can see all the information to be sure for database security and for data security. For example, I will show you one example. that we have the database, we have some kind of data in our database. In this example, we have the data about Ben. We can see the email address, the address of Ben. So the question is how to protect that information if someone of the privileged users is coming and looking in database through all of the data. So we can easily install a new policy for data masking. I will show how easy it's possible to do. So we will go to protect, to install new policy, and we will choose a policy from many policies that we have to choose. We can choose. For example, to masking data. And we will install this policy. So the policy installed is started, okay? And let's see what's happening. So if there's some privileged user is looking in your database, magic, or data is safe and masked. Artyom?
Yeah. So yes, as we see, if Portuguese hospital would have this software, they wouldn't have been fined. And so we ask you, and so just come to us. We will show how it looks in more deep way. So with a full technical demonstration for practical usage cases. So we are ready to assist you. Come to us, call us, Facebook us. So thank you for your attention. In case you have any question, we are ready to answer.
And this is only one small part of possibilities of Guardium. So there's a lot of possibilities what Guardium can do.
Any questions? No questions about GDPR data protection?
Who thinks his database is fully protected? My question to you. Raise your hands, don't be shy. Who would love to have such software in his company? Raise your hands. Okay, come to us. We will exchange business cards. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. You're a great audience. So see you at our stand. Thank you.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. One question from my side. We still have a couple of minutes, but to those who want to leave, the lunch break is starting. We will have a small panel discussion here as well now for a couple of minutes. But the lunch is starting, and after the lunch break at 2:30, we welcome you back here in this hall. Don't forget that there are company stands out there at 4:00 p.m. In every of this stand there will be lottery ongoing. So just go and collect points, leave your contacts there, and participate in lottery. My question, just because we have time, the GDPR, actually, all the discussion started, I don't know, a year or two ago, or when Latvian companies realized that it will be a reality. So my question is, did you had clients before that? Because I think that, I'm not sure, but I think that Latvian companies are before the GDPR, were not so much maybe interested or concerned about these things, but then the GDPR was kind of approaching, and then I think, did you had increase in clients?
So definitely we have a request, increase in request in security software in the case of data protection, because GDPR is such a huge topic with such a big amount of possible pain points. Yeah, with such a big amount of pain points, and to be compliant to the GDPR, you need to have a full process, beginning with data auditing, with internal rules audited, with physical data protection, with digital data protection. So definitely GDPR increase society interest in security question. But if you were asking, did we have business with security products before? Sure, yes, because and we see it like nowadays security is more and more popular and more demanded. Yes, if previously chief security officer was like one part of IT, now he's one of the guys sitting in the management because it's business critical position and business critical responsibility.